nothing but the dog in me.
Why must I chase the cat?
Catching me with my music. Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. We've got a few things to cover tonight, and hope you'll stay for the whole thing. It's October now, and it's kind of hard to believe that pretty much officially Posse Presents has been on the air for 10 months. The 8th of the month, which is Monday, which will be the 10-month mark, which is pretty cool. You know, thanks to everybody who's made it possible. You know, I keep saying I've got a great crew. I've got John, I've got Zach, I've got Nancy when she comes down. Nate here is spectacular. I've got all of you who watch, and I've got like the pumping going on over there. We've got the show loaded up on YouTube every week, and a lot of people seem to watch that. Joey Pepper Show, still head over heels, hands down the all-time most watched show. Posse Presents is the YouTube channel that you can find that on. And we've got, I was just saying just before we went on the air, I've got about just under 2,900 hits for the year. And I think that's pretty good. You know, I've posted on my Posse Presents Facebook page. Math has never been my friend, but I like stats. And if you average that out, that's pretty cool. People are watching, and I appreciate that. I'd love to see 3,000 views before the end of the year. So let's see if you guys can help me make that happen. And since we're in October, it is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and it's also Pit Bull Awareness Month. Two things, you know, like anything else, you've got a quote-unquote cause. It's nice to have the awareness, but some things really, really need support all year long. And these are definitely two of those things. You really should be adopting shelter dogs at every turn, and Pit Bull awareness, that should be all year long as well. Now, you've heard me talk about my Mojo and his place in the Forever Rescued calendar for a number of reasons. Mojo is Mr. October, and here he comes now. Kind of fitting for him because he's a pit bull, and October is Pit Bull Awareness Month. Fitting for Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and fitting because I picked Mojo's birthday to be Halloween, because that's just the kind of crazy girl I am. But there is his page. The Forever Rescued calendar page has been putting each month up as they go along. And of course, I had the preview of the calendar long before anybody else did, because I did work on it with Jessica, and it was a fun experience. But this is the finished product. This is Mojo's page, Mr. October, as they say. And you know, if you're a baseball fan, there's always a Mr. October out there who is a hero. And Mojo can be a hero when he wants to be, when he's not being a goofball and a buffoon. But that is Mojo and the Forever Rescue calendar. And if you want to contact me on Posse Presents, I can tell you more. Anyway, let's have the camera back if we can, and we will reluctantly say goodbye to Mojo. I joked around the other day with somebody on Facebook who was admiring that picture, and I said, you know, in my house it may have to be October all year long. That's a little selfish, but yeah, you know, there's other cute dogs in there, and I got to write their stories and do all that, so that was pretty cool. And I actually get credit in the calendar, which is kind of neat for my writing resume, and I'm excited about that. A dog that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, Sadie in Hamden, is safe. She's got her way with her life. She's on her way home with her new daddy, who came from Nebraska to come and get her. So that's really, it was a nail biter, because it was supposed to be Friday, and then it was maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. We pulled it all together and pushed for her, and somebody stepped up to the plate. And so now Sadie is safe, and we are all quite grateful for that. There was a dog in Hartford that we kind of were networking through Sadie's page, because an event page went up. Seal in Hartford, who was another dog who had like a hot minute of a reprieve, and he was able to get out, and he is now alive and well and in a foster home, and he will still be looking for a permanent home, and maybe we can get him on here if he doesn't get adopted. But as far as Sadie goes, you know, there's other dogs in Hamden that do need your help, so if you're looking, certainly can't hurt to check Hamden out and see who they've got. And, you know, with all of this fixation, for lack of a better word, on Sadie, the question came up, like, why some of us rescuers and why some of the public will latch onto a dog and fixate on it, you know? I mean, is it the story behind the dog? Is it the cute face? Is it, in Sadie's case, she sat in the pound for a year, just about before, you know, her time was up. Why do we fixate on a particular dog when there's dogs dying everywhere every day? You know, you start to wonder sometimes, is it just people want to be involved with the underdog? Is it people want to feel like a hero because they networked that dog and, you know, woohoo, it's safe? I don't know. You know, it's a good question, I think. And, you know, if there's guilt involved, I guess I'm guilty as well, because, you know, you see the story of a dog and you're like, oh, wow, you know, we really got to work to save it. It catches, and you sort of run with it. But, you know, as long as the dog has a happy ending, it's a beautiful thing, but so many others slip through the cracks. And case in point, while everybody was networking the snot out of Sadie, 2 dogs were killed in New Britain, right past everybody's radar, you know? So we really have to make sure that we're aware of all the dogs that are out there and try to save as many of them as we can, you know, whatever you can say the reason was. 2 dogs did die in New Britain this week, and nobody's very happy about that. So there are more dogs in New Britain who are considered to be urgent, so throw a little support behind them. You know, share them, go see them, network them, try to help them out, because unfortunately, unlike some other places, the New Britain dogs are just going to disappear when nobody's looking, and that's really kind of not cool. Actually, it's more than kind of not cool, it's very not cool, and we'll leave it at that. Anyway, Hartford has 4 dogs that are urgent this week. And I know that they've got a picture, and we'll have that up in just a second, maybe, hopefully. If Zach hears me. Oh, Zach. Okay, yep, he heard me. I know the delay kind of kills me because I don't see it come up right away, and I guess sometimes you at home will see it before me, and I'm still like, where is it? But anyway, these are the 4 dogs who are urgent in Hartford for this week. And if you go to the City of Hartford Animal Shelter's Facebook page, they have really, really good descriptions of the dogs, and on each dog's picture underneath, you know, is the thread of all the posts and everything that's going on with that dog. And if you keep it centralized, everybody knows, you know, pretty much what's going on. They've had a few nail biters like they did with Seal the other day, and a couple of the other ones. The best thing to do is try, if you've got an interest, get your ducks in your row and put in your application and try to get down there and meet the dog, because unlike the other pounds, I think I've explained this before, in Hartford, they only have 10 days. So from the day the dog is picked up or picked up off the street or whatever the case may be, there's 10 days of hold, and then on that 10th day, the dog has to be out of there or the dog is out of there. So, you know, when you see the dog in Hartford and you see the date, it's gone home or bust pretty much. But those are some handsome and pretty dogs, and someone posted on the page, I saw today that there's an awful lot of blondes out there this week, and I guess that's true because you can consider 3 of the 4 to be blonde. But yeah, if you have any interest, let's get that together now. We've got Tuesday, we've got Wednesday, and Thursday urgents. So let's see what we can do to help Hartford out, and kudos to the wonderful pictures that they put up, because that's pretty nice the way they do that, so you can share them all at once. The next dog I'd like to show is Angel, and Angel is a big goof. Clearly she likes her toys. She likes to run around and play with them. She is in the Mansfield Animal Control Facility. She is playful and affectionate. She prefers male dogs to female dogs, and from what I understand, no cats. She's a pretty girl, and she probably has a lot of energy and would make a great companion for your male dog, as long as you don't have cats. If she's got a lot of energy, she might not be great with small kids in the house, which is pretty common. You know, these dogs that are very energetic tend to be like bulls in china shops, and I can vouch for that with Mojo, because he's almost knocked me on the ground a few times, and if I had little kids in my house, it just wouldn't work, because he'd bowl them right over. So when you see somebody say, you know, no little kids, it's not an aggression thing. It's just, you know, unless you've got really dog savvy kids who know pretty much how to stay out of the way and aren't going to be, you know, have their lives destroyed by getting knocked over, you know, you really should think about a more relaxed dog. But yep, if you're interested in her, the number to call is 860-487-0137, 860-487-0137, which leads me back to Bonnie and Clyde, who are still sitting in the Brantford Animal Shelter, which is Brantford Animal Control. And yep, that's my same old picture, because I'm a cornball and I like it. Bonnie and Clyde are about 7 years old. I've told their story before, and I'll give you the brief version of it again. You know, they are a bonded pair. They have to stay together. They are 7 years old. Bonnie has shown pretty much lately that she really only wants to be with Clyde. So if you've got another dog, it's really, you know, very likely that it's not going to work right now. They've been in Brantford since earlier this year. They were in, I believe, New Britain prior to that. They were adopted. They were poorly introduced to the family bird. Bonnie made quick work of the bird, and the bird is no longer with us. And so the people decided that they no longer wanted Bonnie and Clyde, which you really can't blame Bonnie and Clyde. You can't blame Bonnie. She probably never saw a bird before in her life, and the people probably didn't manage the situation as well as they should have. And people might think that I'm kind of awful for putting the blame on the people, but they're animals, and we love them, or we should love them, and we should learn to understand them and know that in the first few days of bringing a dog, any dog, home from the pound, they've got to get used to things. They've got to decompress. You've got to take things slowly. So if you're going to introduce a dog to a bird, first of all, I think you're a bird brain, and I don't think that, you know, you should be doing that in the first 32 seconds that you have a dog in the house. It takes time. You have to learn to manage the situation. But if you're interested in Bonnie and Clyde, and, you know, I would just love to see them get out of the pound. It's not the place where they should be. It's not the place for any dog. But again, these guys are fast coming up on a year of not being in a home, and that's painful to my heart, and I'm sure it's painful to a lot of other people's hearts as well. Brantford Animal Control, the number is 203-315-4125. That's 203-315-4125. Now, because I'm a genius, I had a couple of other pictures that I thought I loaded to come with me tonight, and I didn't. So we can have the screen back on yours truly, but we're not going to have other pictures for these next couple of dogs. I will try to remedy that. There's a dog in Danbury Animal Control whose name is Shadow, who is just probably a little more than 2 years old and has been in Danbury for 2 years. So, you do the math. That had to be a pretty young dog going into the pound, and that's kind of sad because really, what kind of life has that dog had? Shadow is dog friendly, loves all the other dogs. Shadow has not been cat tested. Some facilities don't get cats, don't take cats, so you really can't blame the shelter for not doing it. If you were interested in Shadow and wanted to see what would happen with a cat, you're always more than welcome to bring your cat. Put your cat in a carrier and give your cat a heart attack and let the dog check it out and see. You pretty much, maybe not by your discretion, but by the animal control officer's discretion, judge how the dog reacts to a cat. But Shadow is definitely a sweetie, and I'm really sorry that I'm a genius and we don't have the picture. But the number for Danbury Animal Control, don't give me that look, is 203-748-6456. That's 203-748-6456. Hey, I've said it before, I'm human. Anyway, there's a dog named Joe in the Guilford Pound who has been there for quite a while himself. He's a typical hard-headed bully, and he's going to need someone to take firm control of him. He's been given till October 31st, and he's another dog that I meant to have a picture of, but, live with it. I have to. He's another dog that would definitely be said that no small children, because he does need a little bit of training. He's good with other dogs, and while it is said that he may have a home, it never hurts to be a backup. You know what I mean? If his home doesn't stick and it falls through, it's always good to have someone else to say, hey, now it's your turn. Kind of like putting a second deposit on a car, I guess, if you've ever done that. But October 31st is his last day. And for these two dogs that I dropped the ball on technologically here, I will put them up on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page so that you can see them. If you're interested in finding out more about Joe, the number is 203-453-8083. That's 203-453-8083. Now, around Facebook, you find a lot of interesting stories, and there was one that really caught my attention, and I think it caught the attention of a lot of people. This is one of those crazy fate, you can't make this stuff up kind of stories. There was a rescue that went to a kill shelter, a pound, down in Florida, where they live and do their rescue work, and they visited with this dog named Hugo, and they fell in love with him. They played with him, whatever the story was. Decided that they were probably going to take him, but took a little detour, left him back in his kennel or whatever the case was, went to go visit the cats in the cat room. According to the story, probably about 10 minutes, they were gone. Came back to see Hugo, his cage was empty. Cage was empty, dishes were gone, like he never existed. Well, guess where he was? In the room to be killed. They literally went nuts. You saw that, right? They literally went crazy, went to the receptionist, started screaming. The receptionist went bolting down the hallway to the room where they were literally, if you're not familiar with the process, if you're fortunate enough never to have had to end the life of an animal, generally the procedure is a shot of anesthesia and then the shot to kill them. They had just put him to sleep with the anesthesia and were needle in hand about to add the shot to kill him. So he survived the anesthesia, they stopped the process, and they saved this very sleepy dog from seconds from death, which is just amazing. You talk about, if they had taken another 2 seconds to realize what happened, this dog would have been gone, and imagine how they would have felt, the guilt and if only and if only and if only. But sweetest part of that whole story is they said, like, as they led him out of the shelter, he stopped at every cage and he was giving the dogs kisses through the bars on the way out, almost as if to say, hey, I'm making it out, you can too, and just to show you what a sweet dog he was. I mean, that's an amazing save, you know. A lot of dogs, altogether too many dogs, don't get that same type of chance. So really, when we who advocate for these dogs tell you don't waste time and don't think about it too long, if you're going to do it, this is like that perfect chance or the perfect example. Don't waste time, you know. For whatever reason, the breakdown in communication was that they actually took poor Hugo and were about to end his life. It can happen that fast. You know, I can remember other stories locally that there were supposed to be time and gates were locked and dogs were being killed while people that I had sent down to the shelter were locked out and couldn't adopt the dogs that they were inside killing, which is really sad. But anyway, we're winding down to our last little part of the show here, and I want to take just a few minutes to talk about one of the procedures when you adopt from a pound. You know, you get a lot of paperwork. You get your temporary license, you get your ownership papers, you get, you know, this, that, and everything else. But you also get a voucher. And the voucher is for spay or neuter and 2 vaccinations, which would be the rabies vaccination and the distemper vaccination. And it is interesting to me, but then again, you know, I know what I know, and I forget that other people don't know, or I find out what other people don't know through what they say or what they post on Facebook, or, you know, everybody's experience isn't the same. Some vets take the voucher in full. We've had Hope Clinic on, and they take the voucher in full. Other vets don't. You know, they still tack on, and, you know, you have this illustrious vet bill for trying to do the things that you're supposed to do to keep a dog from failing. Now, it hurts. It hurts me, and it boggles my mind that I've seen posts from animal control officers who don't clearly state that the voucher is supposed to be honored. And, you know, there is a list of participating veterinarians, and that is published by the state. And if you are adopting from the pound, they're supposed to be giving you that list so that you know where to go. So there was a big conversation on my personal Facebook wall last night about this, and, you know, people who haven't realized and people who have gotten soaked by, you know, those who are just looking to make that quick buck or more. Now the list is posted not only on my Facebook page, but on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. If you're going to adopt a dog from the pound, yes, you know, there's the adoption that you have to fulfill, the requirements, but there's no reason why you can't use one of the vets that's going to honor your voucher, because that's what it's there for, you know? I mean, I think that, again, I get caught up in the fact that I know all this stuff and other people may not, and that can be a problem for the people who don't know. So I'm trying to make sure, and I think that I smell an article coming and everything else, but you know, it's just something that you should know. Yes, there are some vets who are going to require some testing. You know, don't be surprised if a vet wants to do a heartworm test, because if you put anybody with a bad heart out through anesthesia, you run that risk of killing them. You know, if the heart isn't healthy, it can't handle being under anesthesia. And so, yeah, you know, a heartworm test isn't the worst thing in the world to do, to be sure. There are some dogs, older, younger, going to need things that just like your regular adult dog probably isn't going to. Pain meds or something that, you know, that's just fair when you're having surgery, is to be comfortable. So, you should expect to have to deal with that. But for the most part, that voucher gets handed to you for a reason. And I'm afraid, in my heart of hearts, that may be one of the reasons why some of these dogs aren't getting spayed or neutered, is because people are afraid of, that financial commitment. And that's not the way it should be. You should be able to do other things with what you would be putting towards that. So the voucher definitely should be covered. It's not, it does have an expiration, and if there's a medical reason why you can't spay or neuter the animal, if it's too young or if it's sick or if it's, got a condition, your veterinarian or the veterinarian that, you choose to use the voucher through can call the state, I believe, and get an extension on a medical basis. So that's all stuff that I think that the public needs to be armed with, because I don't think that necessarily all of the animal control facilities are making the public, the adopting public, quite aware of all of the things that they need to know when it comes to how to use the voucher and how to go about the procedure. So anyway, that's my rant for this week, and we've got just a little bit of time left, probably about 2 minutes. There's probably a lot more that I could put into the next 2 minutes, but I think maybe what we'll do is, you want to show Mojo again? Because I'm a little selfish. Can we do that? And there he is, the Forever Rescue Calendar, my man, Mr. October. And I'm not going to even try to tell you what the story says. If you look on my Facebook page, it's there. If you, want to really find out what his story says, you can email me at paulprince713@aol.com, and I will maybe tell you what it says, or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I wrote all little stories, and I'm proud of that. So I'm just, I'm kind of gloating a little bit. I can't help it. But that's Mojo and Mr. October, and that picture was taken the day that I adopted him, as a matter of fact. Got him in the car, got the paperwork done, got him in the car, and someone said, "Did you get him yet?" And I turned around, snapped that picture, and the rest is history. So anyway, here we go. I've only got seconds left. I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. I'm waiting for my credits to roll, and roll my credits. There we go. Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Good night, Mojo. Look at him. He's so handsome. I can't stand it. Anyway, I will see you next week, and have a great week. Bye-bye now.